Hi Stephanie, my name's Eric, and I wanted to respond to a couple of your recent videos about rape because I feel like maybe there are some things we can learn from each other. And first of all, I want to apologize if anyone is giving you crap on the internet about posting what you think, because really they should thank you. Because if they disagree with you, then you've given them the opportunity to express their opinions and maybe change your mind. And so thank you for giving me the opportunity to express mine. I just kind of wanted to go over your videos a little bit point by point. I'm a rape victim myself, so I feel like I have a lot that I actually can agree with you on, and then a few things that I disagree with you on. What you said is that according to feminists, rape culture is telling women only not to get raped versus telling men not to rape. But you don't believe in this rape culture. You said that society doesn't tell people to commit other crimes, so it's not like they're telling them to commit rape. So this is where I have to disagree with you right off the bat. Society doesn't tell people to murder. It doesn't tell people to steal. It doesn't tell people to commit fraud. And it does punish people harshly for those things. Everyone judges people for those things. The difference with rape is that society, all of us, grant rape a kind of exception because it is so hard to define exactly what it is. It's so situation by situation, right? The simple thing to say is, if you didn't say yes, then it's rape. And I understand why that's frustrating for you, because you do get into the heat of the moment. We have boyfriends, we have husbands, we have wives, and we aren't going to just ask, hey, can I have sex with you every time? All I can say is treat people how you would want to be treated. You described an experience where you had just a little bit to drink, and it didn't sound like you were drunk, but a guy pressured you into having sex, and you went along with it. So maybe rather than worrying about the legal standard, we should start worrying about thinking from the other person's perspective and really making sure that they want to have sex with us before we push it on them. I think that if there's any doubt to the situation as to whether or not the person you're interested in having sex with wants to have sex with you, you should ask. And definitely, if there's any chance that they aren't fully capable of making that decision and being aware of everything that goes along with it, for example, when they're on drugs or alcohol, or even when they're just tired and don't seem like they're really all put together right then maybe that's not a good time to have sex with them. I think people take advantage of others way too often because of their emotional state or whatever. Sex shouldn't be something that you get. It's not a commodity. It's supposed to be something that's fun and engaging between two people that they should both be really invested in. So maybe all of those would-be rapists deserve it for themselves to find someone who's interested in having sex with them. You mentioned that women and men both rape and that it's about 50-50. That the statistics of men being the much more aggressive rapists isn't true. But I have to disagree with that as well. If you look at statistics from the Department of Justice, you'll find that 99% of convicted rapists are men, and only 1% are women. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't huge problems involved with getting a conviction against a woman if you are a man, because it's very possible for women to rape. You are totally right that anyone can rape anyone, and it happens. And we need to understand that, and our justice system needs to work to support those victims that are outside of the norm. But there is a norm. You said that if someone is being forcibly penetrated and doesn't have the wherewithal to stop it or know what's going on because of the amount of alcohol they've consumed, that maybe the problem is how much alcohol they've consumed, and that they shouldn't be doing that, or that they shouldn't be doing it with someone who would do that to them. But the fact is that it is usually someone they trust. And that's why it's such a scary problem. Because, I hate to say it, but you can't trust anyone. So you're right. Preventative measures are great. And we shouldn't just act like you don't have a responsibility to take care of yourself. Because you do. I know that there are crosswalks all over the street that mean that as a pedestrian, I have the right of way. But I also know that I'm not going to go running across that crosswalk without looking left and right, because there is some car that isn't going to see me and isn't going to follow those rules. So I agree with you. We should focus on prevention as well. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I'm a rape victim. And so I wanted to share some of my story with you, because I think it helps to clarify maybe some of the points that you made, and also hopefully make some of my own. Not all victims of rape are women. It's true, 9 in 10 are. But that leaves 1 in 10 that are men. And I'm part of that statistic. My rapist was not someone I ever would have suspected would do that. He was a really nice guy. He was dating my best friend. So one day I went over to their apartment, and we were like having a movie watching marathon, and we all started drinking. And it wasn't just me, there was actually several people there, several other friends. And I drank a bit, not too much I didn't think, but I hadn't eaten that day and I was tired, and all of it combined to get me really drunk. And so I passed out on the couch at my friend's place. It was a safe place. And when I woke up, it was the middle of the night. And everyone else had gone except my friend, who was in his bedroom sleeping, and his boyfriend, who was standing over me. And I don't have to go into the details of what happened to tell you that I didn't want it, but I was too drunk to get away. And don't get me wrong, I was not too drunk to know what was happening to me. And boyfriend took me into another room, and what happened there was horrifying. And it's still really, really hard to think about. I took a couple days to report it because I was scared of the consequences. I had, one aspect was that I was still in the closet to my family, and if I reported this, I figured there wouldn't be any way of keeping that to myself. But also I was just scared. I was scared of having to talk about it. And it ended up making sense because I did report it. I talked to a counselor because I couldn't stop crying for those days. And she suggested that I talk to police, that I get the rape kit done where they analyze all of the DNA and whatnot. So I did that, and it was excruciating. I had to tell literally like 8 people my story. Police officers and nurses and counselors and therapists. And so after I filed the report and they finally started taking action on it, they brought me in to make a phone call. They had me call my best friend's boyfriend, my rapist, and try to get him to talk about what had happened. So I got him on the phone and they started recording the call. And I just said, "How could you do that, man? You know I wouldn't want that. My best friend was in the next room. I wasn't coherent. I couldn't even talk or move. And he's like, well, Eric, I was so drunk. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I was so drunk. And I do remember something happening, but it was like a dream. And that's what he just kept saying over and over again, is it was like a dream. And he was so drunk. And that was his excuse. After we got off the call, the officers continued to ask me some more questions about it. They asked me if I had an erection at any point during it, and I said that I did. And they said that because of that, well, I must have wanted it in some way for me to have an erection. They said they didn't see much of a case because he didn't just fully admit to it on the phone. Because a huge problem with rape is that it pretty much takes a confession to prove it. You know, the DNA kit, it proved everything, right? He had sex with me, but there was no way to prove it wasn't consensual. There was no way to show that I hadn't wanted it. So it didn't even go to court. The district attorney just rejected the case, even though there was DNA, there was a phone call where someone said that it happened. But he was just drunk. Because he didn't think he did anything wrong. After the police talked to him and it became clear I was pressing charges, my best friend started to say that that I just wanted attention because I must have just cheated on him with his boyfriend. And I didn't want to take responsibility for it, so instead I was going to blame him. So he hasn't talked to me since then. In our culture, it's easier to say it's the victim's fault. It's easier to say they wanted it. It's easier to say they're just having regrets. It is easier to blame them. So maybe our culture does need to change. And people need to start realizing that it's never okay to take advantage of someone else. That your actions when you're drunk, your actions when you're under the influence of anything, are still your actions and you're responsible for them. They say that that being drunk only enhances what you already are. It just releases your inhibitions. So maybe when we're sober, we need to recognize that under no circumstance will we ever just take something we want from another person. Something that would hurt that person so deeply too. That we respect other people more than that. And maybe that's how we get rid of rape culture. You know, 20 million Americans have been raped. And 9 out of 10 of those are women. So I hope you see that even if you disagree with feminists on everything else, that there is a problem here. And if there's a problem, there needs to be a solution. And a big part of that solution is you and every person making sure that it's not viewed as okay in their circle of friends to get a girl or a guy a little bit drunk so that they can have a good time. We should all respect each other more than that. Thanks.